Angelic World. It's a beautiful program. You will get a lot of information from the different aspects from the mind, and well, we are here to share with you all this. We are so happy to be with you today, and well, we are welcoming now the month of April.
April, yes. Very, very warm and hot April for all of us.
Yes, we're here in Mexico City. It's been very warm. At nights it's cold, but well, during the day it's very, very warm. So here we are, and we're going to continue with our beautiful program, Angelic World, here in Mundo Holístico TV, and share the program with others if you think that you have people who are English spoken and they want maybe to learn something about energy, about virtues, about emotions, about archangels, about the light, then share the program with them, please.
Yes, we look to work with the inner self and the inner light within all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes. So last time, let's just remember that we talked about a specific virtue, which is truth, and this virtue has beautiful characteristics or properties. It's undeniable. Truth is also eternal. Truth is singular. Nothing but the truth. And well, this principle of truth is something that we can find in our everyday life. For example, truth within ourselves when we do the right things, the correct things for us. And also we can see truth represented in all objects in nature, in the universe. And truth is basically something very important because energetically it has a lot of light.
Exactly. When we find truth, somehow, it may be in a particular situation, or with a person, or with a relationship, or within the family. When we find the truth, we feel like a relief and a confidence. We get fidelity to that knowledge, and then we feel all in peace and in harmony.
Yes, and for example, we always suggest you guys to have a notebook. In this notebook, you can write down maybe everything that you get from this program or from your own experiences. You can start writing down so that you can start invoking, let's say, your attention to everything that happens to you. So it is very important that you take notes, especially, for example, if we are talking about the virtue of truth. Write down truth, then you can look it up in the dictionary and you can start investigating, finding out what the true meaning of truth is, for example, and how you can make it real in your world, in your behavior, in your mind, in the ways that you, for example, interact with others, and in the way you can see, for example, truth everywhere you go in people, and you can start resonating with this virtue of truth, for example. So that's why it is very important to have your notebook so that you can start matching your experiences with your inner insights too.
Yes. If you begin a notebook, a working notebook, it's like a workbook for all of you where you can be creative, and all the things that we suggest to you and the knowledge that we provide to you, you can take notes and then you can find the definitions. Sometimes we have found that we take for granted many words, but then again, when you find the meaning, the real meaning, it takes a whole lot of different perspective. So it is very, very uplifting. It is very interesting to know some words that we do not understand, to find the meaning, and according to this knowledge that we are transferring to you, to take the notes, and you can describe, let's say, for example, the definition of truth, something that is undeniable, something that is trusty, something that has been proven off, and something that makes you feel wellness, okay? And then you can add your own creativity. You can add whatever other notes you have. Maybe you have experiences, maybe you have insights, maybe you like to draw or to make quotations. You can do that, because it is all this light work is about creativity, right?
Yes, and for example, when I was very, very young, I am young, but when I was younger, when I was a teenager, basically, I used to write down, for example, on my notebooks. I have many notebooks, and I had many notebooks, and I remember that I wrote down everything that I encountered during my days, my experiences, my inner insights. It was very beautiful, because sometimes we forget. And when we go back to our notebooks, to our notes, then we can see what we wrote, and we say, oh my goodness, I wrote this and I didn't remember that. No, I didn't remember that I went through this situation or through this experience. And now my experience, for example, right now, it's very similar to that one that I had before. So I remember that I found very useful for me to have this tool of having a notebook, of having my notes. And you can do that also. You can have it as a friend. I remember that I had these notes because I started writing, and I started writing to Jesus, for example. That was in my special case. But well, I wrote to him, and I felt that he was listening to me, because I started connecting with that kind of light. So that's our suggestion,
Exactly.
that you use a notebook.
Yes, and sometimes nowadays it's very useful also taking notes in your gadget, your virtual electronic gadget.
Yes.
Most people do. But me personally, and probably Laura, we prefer paper and pen in the old-fashioned way. And I tell you why: because it connects you with creativity, and then you make doodles, you make drawings. I used to remember that I, as a child, loved to draw, to make drawings, funny things, cartoons, all things that make me feel, like expressing. And this is very interesting, because when you acquire knowledge and when you write it, somehow, I don't know why, but every concept, every idea, every drawing that you make becomes crystallized in your mind and in your thoughts. So it's a very, very good way to remember something that resonates to us, or something that is very valuable, or something that becomes very meaningful. We write it, we express it, and then the mind acquires that image, and then you never forget sometimes. So it is very useful. So this is a recommendation. Make yourself a workbook, a notebook, and then have it handy every time you need to write something down, something important for you, and something regarded to these programs that we're sharing with all of you.
Yes, basically the purpose of this program is for you to get some tools, and these tools, you can use them in your life. We're going to talk about, for example, virtues, and sometimes we don't really know how we are going to manage them or deal with them during our daily life, no? And for example, in this program, we're going to give you a lot of hints so that you can understand in a way how to, for example, value so many virtues in your life, and how to practice them and put them into practice, basically, no? So sometimes we say, for example, truth. Oh yes, truth, the virtue of truth. But really, what the meaning of truth is, no? What is basically the most important thing that we can apply to ourselves in our daily life, no? And that is maybe sometimes the problem. But here we are. We're going to help you, and we're going to enjoy also the moment. Okay, so write down everything that you feel that will help you in the future or in the present time.
Exactly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, getting to the topic, we are looking in this chat today how to find truth within ourselves through the archangels. We can work with light every day, and in every way that we want, but we need to focus in the archangels, and they are seven, and it is not something esoteric or something magic. It's just acquiring the vibration of every archangel, and we work in the light work we do. We all will do that through the virtues of truth. Okay, so that is why we will begin to define some words about you and regarded to the truth. So, what is a virtue? A virtue is defined as a moral excellence, a quality of goodness and wellness. A virtue always is something that uplifts you, something that makes you feel very good, very happy, in harmony, relaxed. This is a virtue. And you need to find within yourself which virtues you like or you feel resonated to. Sometimes I feel, for example, very happy helping others, or trying to be aware of what others need in the moment that I am sharing things with them, with my family, my sons, friends that we are together. I am always aware and looking what they might need. Sometimes people do not ask or do not tell you, I need help for this. But through observation, through being aware of the environment, you can detect, and then you can acquire some sensitivity to what others might need. Sometimes it can be a very meaningful thing, like assistance in work, in a labor, or in a homework. Sometimes bringing a person a glass of water. Sometimes cooking, or there are many ways to help others. And this becomes to compress in a very specific virtue, which is compassion. Compassion doesn't mean to be pitiful of somebody else. We don't need pitiful. We don't need to take pity for anybody. We need just to be aware in how we can help others, looking through the suffering that these persons are going through in that moment. This is real compassion. The willing to understand the pain and the suffering in some other persons or in some other situations, and maybe we are willing or able or capable to assist them in that specific moment. This is a virtue, and this is very important.
And virtues, for example, we're talking about what we can see in the external world, how you can behave, for example. But in the inside, a virtue is energy. A virtue is a light of this, it's an energy of light. And this energy of light, which is very important for us to have within ourselves, in our inner world, is something that we have to be aware of every day. We have to try to get all this light that we can in every way, no? And for example, when we practice a virtue, it's like attracting to our inner world this light, this immense light that is going to help us to, for example, be more creative, as Tom has said. So yes, when we practice a virtue, it is okay. It's part of the moral. It's part of being an excellent human being, for example. But there is more. Since we've been talking about energy, about light in our past programs, you can look them up here in Mundo Holístico TV in the Facebook. Yes, you can look for those programs. But we've been talking about light. We've been talking about how energy works. So imagine if we, for example, work and practice virtues, then what we're going to do is we're going to also help the energy that is inside ourselves to get enlightened, let's say, by the light of the rest of the virtues.
Exactly. And you mentioned right now another very interesting word, which is moral. What is moral? Moral is defined as let's say, moral can be defined as a set of principles that are in equilibrium with good deeds, good things, and bad things. Okay, moral is the balance or the in between regarded to the truth. Truth is always correct thinking, correct will, correct acting, and the other side is this virtue or unvirtue actions, and those are not so good. So moral is having the balance to decide which is good and which is correct based on truth, and otherwise it's not so good. So this is very simple definition of moral. And you may ask what then is good and wrong behavior. This is very interesting because sometimes people, I have some friends that they don't care about moral, and this is conflicting to me because they say, today, Thomas, there is no moral. We don't need moral. And I don't perceive that as well, because this is what conducts all the society and all the living to straight to chaos in destruction and violence and aggressiveness and all the wrongdoing in the world, and it becomes all messy. So we need a balance. I mean, we need to find a centering. We need to find a proper acquirement of knowledge in order to act in goodwill all the time. We do not need to harm. We do not need to become violent or to deconstruct or destruct things. We need the otherwise, to uplift, to be constructive, to be proactive, to be positive, wellness, and to work wellness all the time, because this is the way prosperity and evolution works, really. This is what I can say about that.
Yes, so on the part of let's say on the side of the light, we have then virtues, we have good deeds, we have correct behavior, correct thinking. Yes, all those are going to be filled or are filled with light, and we can use them in our thoughts, in our emotions, in our actions. So we will be filled up with a lot of light, and that light is the light or the type of energy that we need in order for us to keep on walking. It's very important, and it is not just of be good. No, we can, for example, say here, yes, let's everybody be a good human being. Yes, that's very good, and that's moral, and that's something that it's important. But what is more important is about the energy, because remember that we are not just this physical body. We are also energy. We have an energetic body, and we have to think about that energetic body. We just forget about it, right? And that's why people say, oh no, or about what Tom just mentioned about his friends, that they told him, oh no, I don't care about moral, or I don't need to be a good person. Life is only one life, and we have to enjoy, no, for example.
Sí.
And
La vida loca.
Yes, la vida loca, yes. So yes, so it is not that. The thing is that we have an energy. Okay, what are we going to do with that energy? What are we going to do with our energetic system? We don't pay attention to that. We just forget about that, and we are only connected to the physical world that is giving us a lot of feedback to our senses, our five senses, and that's all. No, that's all that we get from the physical world. And it's okay, because we have a body and we are here, but we have to keep in mind that we have our system here, which is made out of energy. So what are we going to do with that energy? And let's don't forget that when we finish with this physical body is going to stay here, and something is going to come up, and that is the energy, that is the light. And if we work, for example, during our lifetime with all these good energies, or good energy with the virtues, or with good actions, or with good thoughts, or with good deeds, then we are going to be able to have this energy flow, let's say, to the upper
Higher.
yes, to the higher levels of consciousness, and that is going to be very good for that part, no, for the energy. So that's why we have to keep in mind that we are not just this body, but we also have the other one.
It's amazing how everything is, it comes very related from the tiniest subtle thing to the big thing. So it's very important. And it's only a suggestion. In the end, you all have the option to choose. Life is full of options, and we choose the options we want to. So what we provide to you is you can take it for granted, or you can apply in your life. It depends on you. But most of the times in a spiritual path or in a spiritual practice, you need to put in balance. What I'm looking for practicing any uplifting way of thought or philosophy or path, okay? So we have two ingredients, virtue and truth, and together virtue, truth becomes moral, because then you know something higher. And when you know something higher, that makes you more powerful. And this is a very classic phrase that most of the people say, power is knowledge. You have heard this many times.
Yes.
So the more I know, the more moral and the more virtue I must become, because I know exactly what is good and what is bad, and what is wrong and what is correct, based only on the middle, which is truth, looking for truth all the times. Most of you maybe read or heard or studied during university times, university,
Yes.
no,
College.
college time. In college, you hear about the dialogues of Plato. Plato was a Greek philosopher, and he wrote about moral and virtue, and this is based in truth all the time. So we look to have access most of the time in all our life to the most pure truth, that which is undeniable, that which is unbreakable, that which is singular and cannot be broken. Even if we try, if we find to re-engineer truth, truth will always be truth. We can die and there will always be true. So this is principle of universal value. It is cosmic. And most of all species, all animals, all living things know exactly what is wrong and what is not wrong. This is only correct and incorrect information. And all the universe is based on information, how we manage information. And as we provide to you this chat, this is also information. Information that can be valuable and meaningful to you, and that you can use in your everyday life to become more proficient. Okay? So adding the virtue of truth and the virtue of compassion and all this truth, we have another interesting word, that is character. Character is when you build your mindset according to undeniable truth to become a higher vibrating being. This is very interesting, because then you focus exactly on what you really want in life. What do I want in life? I want to have the four basic principles of happiness, which is health, wealth, love, and prosperity. These are four undeniable truths that we all seek for. And this is what I need to be focused my life, my time, my will, my work, to access these four truths. These are undeniable. These are in the ancient scriptures, and these are very, very interesting to have knowledge of them in order to work and strive every day to access these four basic principles of happiness.
Yes. So let's have a break and we'll come back.
We are back.
Yes. So character is so important.
Yes.
You were mentioning during the break this example of a bullfighter.
Oh, yes. I will go to that part. We build character through knowledge. We build by studying, by looking for what we raise our interest. We look forward to build a character. And what is a character? It's a mindset of virtues. Let's say, for example, myself, Thomas. I define myself as daring, as creative, as willing, as loving, as caring. And this mindset of virtues makes me a character, a personality. So we look in life to polish ourselves and build a character. And most of the times, characters can be charming or can be, bright. And the idea is to shine with your own light, okay? This is a person that is very aware, very awakened, and be very lucid about all situations that happening towards and around you. This is character. I was mentioning in the break that I read in news some other day about a person asking a bullfighter, what makes you a bullfighter? And he said, hesitantly, he said, character. Character makes a bullfighter. So I was thinking, wow, character of a bullfighter, what does that mean? Well, a bullfighter fights the beast, the beast within. This is the analogy of bullfighting. To fight and summon the beast, you have to summon your own inner beast, your own demon. So in order to do that, you need a set of virtues, personality. You need to be daring. You need to be you need to be valuable. You need to have courage. You need to have self-restraint. You don't need to be fear of the beast. And this is all that builds a character. You need passion for what you're doing, passion for what you love, passion to defend what you believe in. And this is all the concept of character. You build every day a personality, a character, a person that is different from all other people because of a specific virtues and a specific morality. And this is a mindset.
Yes, and what is, for example, what we need? Pay attention to this question. What is what we need so that we can, for example, do a light work? Or what is it that we need to connect with the archangels? We need character. Why? Because we have to be very strong, very we have to have all these qualities that character has in order for us to go against all odds and reach, for example, light, and connect with the archangels. We need to have character. If we are like, yeah, the archangels are nice, right?
Well,
I like Barakiel.
Barakiel.
Or
yeah.
I like Michael. Yeah, I'm a fan of Raphael. Yes, but we need more. Why? Because we have to do a light work here on earth. It is very difficult to do that. It is very, very important for us to have all the courage to go against everything that will come up and will start showing up on our path. Of course, it's going to be negative things, or are going to be negative things, or negative feelings, or negative emotions, or negative, all the shades that we have spoken are going to come up. So if we have this character very well grounded within ourselves, we are going to be able to go against everything and then reach, for example, the light, and be able to work with the light, or work with virtues, or work with the archangels, for example.
Yes, well, I can tell a little bit about my story. When I was young, I suffered many bullying in school because there was a very competitive environment all the time. And I have friends that it was a Catholic school, so there were friends that defined themselves as non-believers or non-believers. But I somehow felt a connection with life, specifically biology. And in the classes that we had about chemistry and biology, I felt very, very uplifted, very inspired to know why mixing bicarbonate of sodium with water and then making chemistry or chemical reactions amazed me really. Or in biology, dissecting a frog and finding all the organs and all that was very, very interesting to me. And then discussing with friends that they didn't believe in something higher than just human life, I became aware that becoming a deeper knower of the truth was my duty, because I understood science and I liked science. And then I found in science how science, it takes you, specifically when you go deeper in science, is in particular with biology, the understanding of life. You understand that science is very related to spirituality somehow. So this became a turmoil to myself, a thriving method to understand spirituality and science together and putting all together in order to understand everyday life. And so this is what I define to you, that the more you know something and you try to reach the light work, or the light, or the properties of light that we described previously as propagation, polarity, intensity, frequency, vibration, you find all these particularities in everyday life, okay? So working with light work and the archangels through these principles of the light, how it conforms, how it how you say, the behavior of light and its properties, you understand your own inner light. You understand how you can build your mindset, how you can start to become moral, how you can become virtue, and then you build your own character. And then you add also the archangel's properties or particularities. It's okay to, as many love today, there is how you say, like a trending with angelology and all that. We're not that. We are going further. We are more deeper than that. It's okay for you if you light a candle or an incense, that is, but they don't need that. Truly, they don't need that. They just need your presence and your will to work yourself, your inner self, your inner light.
You mean by they, you're talking about the archangels, aren't you?
Yes. You can, for example, understand just the names of them, and by calling the names of them and the virtues specific to each of them, you then acquire the connection and you begin to work with the specific virtues of them.
Yes, having a polished mindset while we are working with virtues, for example, we're going to start polishing our mindset. And a polished mindset is another thing that we need to have so that we can reach, for example, and reach the light, or have a light work in our lives, or maybe contact the archangels. We need to have this polished mindset. It is so important. And we can do that by practicing, for example, character, no? By being very on the ground, our feet on the ground, having our feet on the ground. And with that, we're going to be able to connect in a better way. Why? Because we're working with light. Our mindset is completely focused on what it has to be focused on, which has virtues, moral, character. And in that way, we are going to have all this intensity within ourselves, so that we can just go up like a rocket. This is very uplifting, of course. So yes, it is something that we have to try to do all this work with virtues, with emotions, with the correct thoughts, with good deeds, good actions. In that way, we're going to be able to shine. Exactly. Or we're going to start we're going to start shining. And people are going to ask you, hey, what happened to you? You look different. What is it that you are doing? I mean, tell me. And you are going to tell them, well, I'm working with light, I'm working with my character, I'm working with my mindset, I'm polishing my mindset, you can say. Imagine saying that kind of answer, no? I'm working with my mindset. Wow, that's very profound and deep.
We do it most of the time. All people try to improve, try to grow, try to become better persons every day. Most of them don't notice that. And those who notice that strive and study many things around the day and at all times. So it is like an inner call, an inner must that we all looking for. We connect with enlightening knowledge all the time. When we connect with creativity, we like to see movies, we like to read, we like to see a good film or a good series of those today that are too many, or we like to hear music, or we like to dance, or we like to gather with friends. And this is all the time a constant exchange of knowledge, of information. The way that we manage that information, the way that we unpack bits of knowledge and then keep in our mindset is that it's the way it is built our character. So it depends on what information you choose to keep or you choose to develop, and the other information you just disregard it or you don't need it and discard it. This is your choice and this is your decision all the time, because we have free willing all the time to to accept and to decide what we put inside our minds. Okay, so we try always to have a balance between what is correct and is incorrect, and this is a management of knowledge, information, bits of or packs of binary instructions to our mind. Okay.
Yes, I remember a saint, an Indian saint, who said that you shouldn't sell your soul for a hot dog. So, yes, here the expression means that we really have to be very attentive and pay a lot of attention to what kind of knowledge we are getting from the world, from other people, from other cultures. That is, again, the truth. You have to feel that a certain and specific knowledge or a certain and specific ideas or whatever mindset is something that goes with you, that really are in accordance with what you feel, with what you believe, that you feel, okay, yes, I feel comfortable with this. Not doing it because you feel comfortable with other person. No? Oh no, I go there because he goes, no, or I go there because they go. If you don't feel comfortable there, then be careful. No, pay attention to what you are reading. Pay attention to what you are learning from the rest of the world. What you are learning in internet. Why? Because there's a lot of information, but you have to be you have to put a lot of attention, I'm sorry, so that you can being able to just say this really is something that I believe, or this is something that feels right, this is something that feels correct. I'm going to take this knowledge, I'm going to apply it in my life, I'm going to practice it. Otherwise, then we're just getting a lot of information and we know this and we know that, and then it's a mess, no? Because we don't have the focus on what we really should put our attention to. So we have to be very careful.
And also you have to be strong, because
Yes.
sometimes it happened to me, and I've seen many situations. People reach wrong information, and then they see things that make them feel uncomfortable, or brings immediately a connection with fear, or a low vibration frequency, and you feel disgusting, and then you say, oh, this is gross, I don't want to see that, wow, look at that, no. But then you need to be strong to manage the information that you gather every day. And then you also need to look for the people that you're around with. In this case, I'm speaking of our sons. We allow them to be free, but then we provide to them this knowledge by word, by saying, put in the balance what is right and what is wrong, and then be in the middle. Do not do too many good things, or do not do too many bad things, in order to acquire the center, or the equilibrium, or find the harmony. And then try to connect the higher knowledge, that is always good truth, good wellness, goodwill. Okay, so this is your choice all the time.
The archangel that has this virtue, or is like a channel of this kind of light, which is knowledge, for example, is Jehudiel. Jehudiel is the archangel. His light is yellow. It's very bright. So we can ask him, for example, to give us this light. No, you can maybe close your eyes, and maybe you can imagine or visualize this light, very, very bright, very yellow, and you can look at it and see it, that it is coming to you, or that it surrounds you, or that it is within yourself, inside of you, that all your energy is just feeling this light, and getting a lot of brightness. It is important that you can do this as a practice, maybe in the morning, maybe during the day if you need it, or maybe at night, in case you need knowledge to, for example, find a solution. If you need to have a solution for a specific situation or a struggle in your life, then that is a moment to ask Yehudiel to give you this light. While you are visualizing this light, you are going to immediately feel this comfort, let's say, that the light brings you. So pay attention to that moment, and bring that moment to your daily life, to your work, to your house, to your family. I mean, if you are with them, if you are working, if you are interacting with, in your family, then and you need knowledge, for example, then ask mentally. You don't have to say it loud. You just mentally can ask, Yehudiel, please give me, bring me, or surround me with your brightness, with your yellow light, for example.
Exactly. Most of the light work that we invite all of you to do is inside of you, in the mind. It's becoming very telepathic, and also reaching the intuition. And reaching the intuition, we look and we strive to creativity. All that is creative then is uplifting, and this upliftment brings you inspiration. Okay, I would like to mention once again the Upanishads. The Upanishads are ancient texts from the Indian culture, not Hinduistic, but Indian culture. This is a very ancient scriptures. They were gathered as books of knowledge, and they mention 3 cardinal virtues to long for. One of them is temperance, and this is self-restraint, or being strong against any situation. You need to restrain yourself from being weak. You need to restrain yourself from being not too weak or too strong. You need to always find a balance and self-restrain yourself from what you say, from what you think, from what you do, and from what every kind of deed you do every day. Second virtue is charity. Charity is not giving money to some institution. Charity. Charity is not giving money to some institution, and the most common definition of the word. Charity means to help myself and be willing to help others in any kind of situation. And finally, compassion. As I mentioned before, compassion is not pity. I don't need to be pitiful about me or pitiful to others. Compassion really means to have the mind to imagine or to put myself in the shoes of somebody else in order to understand what the person is going through, what is going through that person. Maybe that person is going through the pain, maybe that person is breaking in a relationship, maybe that person has many people or friends or relatives die in this situation of the pandemics.
I don't have money.
Maybe that person doesn't have money right now, so I feel he's suffering, and then I am willing to help in a bit, tiny bit that I can, or a wide bit. It all depends on your choices. So these are the 3 main virtues described by the Upanishads. 3 virtues, cardinal virtues, that is temperance, that is charity, and that is compassion. So remember that. And then it is all related to the resultant of karma. And karma, according to the Upanishads, become as a very phrasal description, and it goes as this: according to one acts, so does he become. One becomes virtuous by virtuous action. One becomes bad by bad actions. This is very loving, very straightforward, very specific, daring, and specific truth. So whatever you choose to do in life, you have the balance to make it right or make it wrong. It's all about you.
And remember that if, for example, someone decides to do right, or he thinks that it's right but it is not so right, it is incorrect, then remember that also holds a lot of energy. So it is not that somebody just behaves bad and okay, well, he behaved bad, he's going to go to jail. Yes, It is there. I mean, that is going to happen if they trap him. But the most important thing is the energy. Again, the energy inside that person. If that person is not behaving correctly, then the energy inside himself is going to get a lot of shadows. The energy of that person is going to go down to a lower level of energy. Yes. And when one has a lower level of energy within himself, then that person is going to suffer, because getting in contact with the lower vibrations, that is going to bring some things. For example, suffering, pain, lack of maybe money, disease, or not having love, for example. No? So as you can see, there is going to be a consequence, as he mentioned about karma, that karma is a reaction of an action. Then if a person behaves in the correct way, what is going to happen to that person is going to be good. But if the person does not behave well, then there is going to be a consequence too. There is the energy that is going to be held inside, is going to be held, inside that person's energetic body, is going to interrupt the flowing of his life. Instead of evolution, instead of having advancement, for example, in his life, that person is going to get a block, or is going to get problems, because problems and all these bad situations are parallel with the low energies. So that is why we need to really decide. And he just mentioned, also Tom mentioned about having the free will. Okay, yes, we have the free will, but we have to also know that if we decide the incorrect path, then incorrect things are going to start happening in our lives.
Most of you remember this movie, The Wizard of Oz, the classic with Judy Garland. This is a classic. This is a classic analogy of the spiritual way. We go in a road, the yellow brick road, and then we have two paths. We choose which one, and this is an also a beautiful analogy of life. We choose the right path or the wrong path, and then we have consequences. Therefore, and in the same way works the energy. The energy we choose to work with is that one that is going to produce consequences. We have the free willing, and we can choose, or we can opt, or we can have the option to go to the right path or to go to the wrong path. It's all depending on us, nobody else. It's all in our mindset, in our character. And I also have found that most of times, much people doesn't know even what the free will is, or why they choose, or they complain. Why is happening this to me? This is so bad. I do not know what to do. And this is because of the lack of knowledge. This is because of the lack of looking into the inside, into the inner light that is always, as I mentioned before, any species in the world, any animal species, any living thing in the world and in the cosmos knows exactly what is correct and what is wrong. So this is a universal principle. This is a universal unbreakable law. So do not allow us to, let's say, how you say, engañar?
To fool?
To fool yourself. Don't allow yourself to be fooled by a wrong energy. So try just all the time to be aware and be conscious of what is good and what is wrong, and do the correct thing.
Yes, so that is why then again, remember, we're going to maybe finish with this program, but just write down, that something that you need to have is a polished mindset, a character. You have to
build a character,
build up a good character, so that you can decide, so that you can be strong, so that you can thrive and look for a solution to all your problems or all your situations or all your difficulties. You have to have this inside yourself, these energies, these kind of energies. Remember also to be you have to pay a lot of attention, no? How am I feeling, for example, with this situation? Is it correct? Is it incorrect? How am I feeling? So you have to have the correct choices. Write it down. Correct choices. Don't just decide on whatever comes because yes, it just came and that's what I decided to pick up. No, be very attentive. Pay a lot of attention and focus on what you really need for you. I mean, is that the right person to be with? Is this, for example, job that you have, is that job the correct job for you because it makes you happy? And if you are, for example, practicing happiness or paying attention or focusing on happiness, then that means that you have to really understand that happiness has to be everywhere, at home, at work, in your daily life, basically. So in every virtue that you are working with, then you have to apply it in all the aspects of your life. So how do you feel? How do you feel with that specific situation, with that specific person, with that specific job? How does it feel here inside yourself? If it feels correct, then it is correct, and
Exactly.
you are then dealing with truth. You are practicing it.
Yes, and remember also to appeal to the virtue of Yehudiel. Yehudiel is knowledge, and remember, knowledge is power, and the more you know in everyday life, in every aspect, in every matter, topic, the more high enlightened you become. Okay, so search for the truth and search for the light.
Yes, and remember that our purpose as human beings is not just do things that have to do with the five senses. We have to also remember and write it down, please. The energy aspect is so important. That's why we're talking about these ideas and this knowledge. Energy is so important. Don't forget, please. And energy is what is going to be at the end of your life. Energy is going to come out, and that energy has to be very bright in order for the energy to continue its course, to continue flowing on the path of life or of existence. Let's go beyond of existence. Energy, remember, energy is eternal. Energy doesn't stop. Energy doesn't interrupt its trail. Energy is going to be there always. So your energy is going to be there always, forever. It's infinite. It's eternal. So that is why it is so important to work with energy every day. We have to pay attention to the energy. We have to be very to have a character to say, yes, I want light in my energy. I want this brightness inside myself. I am going to take advantage of this life so that I can attract the more energy or the more light that I can. So at the end of my life, the energy that is going to come out is going to be light, pure light, bright, white.
Excellent. Now we are coming to the end of this program. We thank you all, and as Laura mentioned, shine and bright. Just there is a song about that. It's bright light, like bright shine like a diamond. Or
yes, it is.
That is very good. So with that song, we say to all of you, take care.
Yes.
Have a good week, and we are looking forward to the next program, the continuation of these light talks.
Yes, thank you so much, and be careful in your choices. Pick life and light.
Y vamos a compartir todos los viernes en Mundo Holístico Televisión un programa sobre relaciones espirituales, donde vamos a hablar sobre sexualidad, relaciones, vínculos, tantra, meditación.
Numerología, crecimiento personal, espiritualidad.
Un programa de alto contenido para elevar nuestra energía, nuestra frecuencia y nuestro bienestar. Mundo Holístico Televisión, relaciones personales con Lourdes Lurel y Guillermo Ferrara. Chao, nos vemos los viernes.